The Grand Galactic Council was never a quiet place, but today it felt different, almost heavy, as if the air itself carried fear. The largest hall in the galaxy, shaped like a glowing star, was filled with thousands of alien voices whispering nervously. Every race from every side of the galaxy had sent their leaders, yet the room still felt incomplete, because one crucial species was missing again: humanity. For years, the Council had invited Earth to join their discussions, their alliances, their peace agreements, but Earth never came, never sent a representative, never answered a message. Some members thought humans were arrogant, others believed humans were scared, but many simply believed Earth was too primitive to understand galactic politics. But today, no one was laughing or mocking Earth. Instead, fear had replaced arrogance. Unusual signals had been detected at the edge of the galaxy, deep inside the dark region known as the Void, a place no empire dared to enter. Something massive was moving there, something powerful, something unknown. High Chancellor Vok Ran, a tall creature with shimmering scales, struck the council floor with his staff, commanding silence. "We have received another Void reading," he announced, his voice echoing like thunder, "and the signatures are increasing. We count more than 1,000 vessel-level energy spikes, and they are still multiplying." The hall erupted in panic. "How is that possible?" shouted a small insectoid leader. "Nothing survives in the Void." "The Void is forbidden," cried another. "No empire goes there, no empire returns." "And yet something is coming out of it," Vok Ran replied, "something organized, something with structure." The Council's best scientists projected the latest scan in the center of the chamber. A swirling black map lit up with red lights that were growing and spreading like fire across dry land. A whisper spread through the seats: an invasion, a new empire, a weapon. No one could agree, but all felt fear. The council elder, a floating luminous being, drifted forward. "We must prepare the galaxy for war," she said softly, "but before that, we must attempt one final question." She paused, then added the words many had been avoiding: "Where is Earth?" The room fell silent again. For the past 40 galactic summits, the council had invited Earth, begged Earth, even warned Earth, but the humans ignored every call. Every race found this strange. Humans were curious, emotional, stubborn, but silent was not their nature. Something felt wrong. Some aliens believed Earth was too simple, too behind, too fragile to understand grand galactic issues. They lived on a small blue planet, used old technology, and fought among themselves, or so the council assumed. But others believed something else, something darker, something hidden. A warrior race whispered, "Humans are planning something." A peaceful race replied, "Or they are hiding from something." A paranoid species muttered, "Or they are building something." The council could never decide. The elder turned to her assistants. "Send another message to Earth," she ordered, "mark it with highest urgency." A young assistant asked, "What if they do not answer again?" The elder's light dimmed, as if sighing, "Then we pray they are not the ones behind the Void signals." A cold silence spread across the chamber. Before the message was even sent, alarms suddenly blared, the dome ceiling flashed crimson, and the deep voice of the station AI thundered through every speaker. "Emergency alert, unknown fleet emerging from the Void, estimated fleet count, 2,000 war signatures." The council members froze, every face turned pale, every mind filled with dread. 2,000 war signatures. No empire in the galaxy had ever built a fleet that large, not even the ancient empires from legends. 1,000 ships was considered unstoppable, but 2,000 meant something else, something beyond understanding. A race known for their logic stepped forward, trembling. "Who can build 2,000 warships without us knowing?" Another replied in fear, "Who can survive the Void long enough to gather forces?" A third whispered louder than intended, "Who would dare?" The elder drifted higher, absorbing the new data projected around her. The red lights on the Void map were merging now, forming a single immense wall of energy heading straight toward the council's region of space. "Prepare evacuation protocols," she ordered, "alert all sectors." But then a new voice emerged from the speakers, deeper, colder, more controlled than anything the council had ever heard. "Incoming transmission," the AI announced, "source identified, human technology." The room erupted into chaos once more. "Impossible," someone shouted. Humans cannot even reach deep space, said another. They do not have warp drives, insisted a third. They do not have fleets. But the truth could no longer be denied, the incoming signal was unmistakably human. Earth had finally answered, after ignoring every summit, every warning, every invitation. The council elder dimmed her glow, put the message through, she commanded. The hall darkened as a large hologram flickered to life. A single massive warship appeared, larger than any known battleship in the galaxy, its armor black as shadow and glowing with unfamiliar blue runes. Behind it, thousands of other ships moved in formation like a great metallic tide. Then a calm voice echoed through the hall, human yet strangely powerful. Galactic Council, the voice said, we heard your summons. The chamber shook with tension, hundreds leaned forward in fear and curiosity. But we did not attend your meetings, the human continued, because we were preparing. Preparing for what? Before the council could ask, the transmission ended with one final chilling statement. Stand by, the void has awakened, and we did not come to talk. The hologram faded, but its weight remained like a mountain on every mind. The council elder whispered the first honest word spoken that day. The humans were not silent, she said, they were busy. The entire galaxy held its breath, because everything had just changed. The galaxy had never seen a silence like this. After the human transmission ended, the Grand Galactic Council stood frozen, no one daring to breathe. The image of the massive black warship, and the thousands behind it, burned into every mind like a living nightmare, or a hidden hope. High Chancellor Vokran gripped the edges of his podium, his scales shaking. 2,000 human ships, he whispered, how could this be? The elder floated toward the middle of the chamber, her light flickering softly. There is only one answer, she said, humanity has been building in secret, building and preparing for something far beyond our understanding. The council members exchanged nervous glances. The idea that Earth, a planet the galaxy dismissed as weak or primitive, had created a fleet bigger than any empire's entire navy was almost impossible to accept. A tall, armored warrior slammed his fist into his chest. This is a threat, he shouted. Humans hid their power, they ignored our calls, and now they come with a fleet that can crush entire star systems. But another voice spoke softly from the back, an elderly being with 6 shimmering wings. Or maybe the humans come not to fight us, she said, but to fight what is coming behind them. Those words changed the air in the room. For the first time, the idea sank in deeper. Humans had not arrived alone, they had come from the void, and the void was never empty. Pull up the footage again, the elder ordered. The hologram lit the chamber once more. The human flagship stood tall, a giant made of metal and shadows. Its design was unlike anything the galaxy had created. The armor looked layered, interlocked, almost alive, with blue symbols glowing like veins. What kind of material is that? Asked a scientist with trembling antennae. No known alloy, replied another, it is resisting every scan. Behind the flagship, rows of human battleships, destroyers, carriers, and unknown ship classes formed an endless wall. Their engines emitted a soft blue flame, silent, cold, without distortion. They do not use plasma engines, the scientist whispered, they do not use ion thrusters. Then what do they use? Something new. A hologram of the human fleet expanded, showing their formations, each ship moving with precision. Every curve of their hull, every weapon placement, every formation was designed for war at a scale the galaxy could not comprehend. These ships are not made for patrol or defense, the elder whispered, these ships are made for extinction battles. A wave of fear washed across the chamber. The High Chancellor finally spoke. We must communicate with them, he said, we cannot let a 2,000-ship fleet enter our space without understanding their intention. But before they could send a reply, the station trembled with a new alert. Incoming transmission, the AI announced, human flagship HSS Obsidian Crown requesting open channel. The council's nerves tightened, the elder nodded, open the channel. The hologram flickered again. This time, instead of the entire fleet, a single figure appeared, a human, dressed in dark armor with glowing blue circuits running across the chest. His face was calm, serious, eyes sharp like someone who had seen too much darkness. "I am Admiral Kane Walker," he said, his voice steady like stone, commander of the human Void Armada. Gasps rippled through the room. A council member spoke quickly, "Admiral Walker, why has Earth ignored the Galactic Council for so long?" The Admiral did not smile or hesitate. "We did not ignore you," he said, "we were preparing for the Void Titans." A cold wave passed through every being listening. "What Titans?" the Chancellor asked, voice shaking. "The creatures that sleep beyond the edge of your maps," Walker replied, "the ones older than your council, older than your empires, older than the stars you worship. We detected them 30 years ago," he continued, "and we spent every day since building the only fleet capable of stopping them." The Elder stepped forward. "If these Titans are real, why did you not warn us?" "We tried," Walker answered, "but your technology could not detect our transmissions, nor could your ships enter the regions where we fought. But now the Titans are fully awakened," he said, "which means we no longer have time for political meetings." The council remained silent, none daring to interrupt. Admiral Walker raised his hand and the hologram behind him shifted, revealing a terrifying sight: giant shadow-like creatures drifting across the void, mouths wide enough to swallow moons, wings stretching across kilometers of darkness, their bodies pulsed with energy like dying stars. Many council members fell back in terror. "This is impossible," one cried, "these things cannot exist." "They do exist," Walker replied, "and they hunger for everything." The hologram switched again, showing destroyed star systems, planets ripped apart, fleets crushed like dust under a boot. "This was the fate of the civilizations we tried to warn decades ago," Walker said. "We swore we would not let it happen again." The Elder whispered, "And now they come here." "Yes," Walker said, "and that is why we bring this armada." Suddenly, alarms across the council station blared again. "Alert, void creatures detected at the edge of Sector 9. "They are early," Walker muttered, "too early." He looked straight into the council's hologram, eyes burning with determination. "You wanted us to attend your meetings," he said, "but meetings do not stop monsters." The hologram expanded again, showing the human fleet spreading into formation like a massive shield. "Stand back, Council," Walker declared, "the humans will take the front line." His final words hit the chamber like thunder. "This is not your war yet," he said, "but it will be unless we stop them now." The hologram vanished, leaving behind a chamber filled with awe, terror, and something new, hope. Because the galaxy now understood one truth. Humanity did not come to conquer. They came to protect. And they came prepared. The galaxy had seen wars, disasters, and collapses, but nothing compared to what was happening now. The void was no longer silent, it breathed, it moved, it awakened. Inside the council chamber, the alarms kept ringing like a dying heartbeat, void signatures increasing, the AI repeated again and again, creatures approaching Sector 9. Every alien leader stared at the hologram in horror. The red dots that marked the enemy were multiplying, merging, swelling into massive shapes that looked too big to fit into reality. "These readings cannot be real," cried a scaled ambassador. "Sector 9 is protected by 3 defense rings." "Those rings will not matter," whispered the Elder, her glow dimming, "not against what is coming." At that exact moment, the hologram shifted, showing Sector 9 in real time. A dark cloud spread across space, thick like smoke but alive, pulsing, wavering, sending shockwaves that melted smaller asteroids into glowing dust. And inside that cloud, enormous shapes moved. Slow. Hungry. Ancient. The Void Titans. Each one was larger than a warship, some even larger than moons, their bodies twisted like shadows trying to form physical shape, their eyes burning white like dying stars. A council member fell to his knees. "This is the end," he whispered, "we are not meant to fight things like this." But far ahead of Sector 9, a massive wall of steel and blue light appeared, the human Void Armada, 2,000 warships forming a perfect defensive line. They did not retreat. They did not hide. They stood ready. The elder whispered, "Look at them," her voice filled with both fear and wonder, "they are not even afraid." Admiral Kane Walker appeared again inside the Council's hollow connection, his expression sharp and focused. Behind him, the crew of the HSS Obsidian Crown moved with perfect discipline, their screens showing wave after wave of incoming threats. "They are moving faster than expected," Walker said, "brace yourselves." "Can you stop them?" the Chancellor asked with a trembling voice. Walker nodded once. "We can hold them," he said, "but we cannot let even one Titan reach your colonies." The hologram suddenly zoomed in on the front line. The first of the Void Titans broke through the dark mist, its massive head lifting high, its scream ripped through space, a soundless shockwave that shattered nearby rocks and bent light around it. Council members covered their ears even though it was only a hologram. "Fire Formation Alpha," Walker commanded. The human fleet responded instantly, 1,000 cannons charged at once, glowing blue, then unleashed streams of crackling light that tore through the vacuum. The beams hit the Titan like earthquakes crashing against mountains. But instead of dying, the creature roared louder, its shadowy skin absorbing the light before spitting it back as dark fire. Walker frowned. As expected, he muttered, "Shift to Helix Pattern 3. The fleet moved like a single organism, ships twisting into spirals, breaking formation, reforming again behind the Titan's flanks, new weapons launched, different this time, glowing with orange heat and releasing pulse waves that vibrated through space like sound underwater. The Titan shrieked, its body cracking like shattered glass before reforming again. More Titans burst from the void, each one taller, wider, stronger than the last. A wave of darkness rushed toward the human fleet, filled with claws made of energy and mouths that split into jagged lines of white fire. The council watched the horror unfold, breaths shaking, hearts pounding. A calm voice announced from the human flagship, "Shields at 60%, hull damage on units Echo 7 through Echo 9. "How are they so calm?" whispered an alien general. "How can they fight monsters that break reality?" "Because they had 30 years to prepare," the elder answered softly, "and because they knew no one else would." A Titan lashed out with massive tendrils of dark matter, slicing a human destroyer in half. The ship exploded into blue fragments, scattering across the dark sea of space. The council gasped. Walker did not flinch. "Recover the debris," he ordered, "do not let the Titans absorb it." Human salvage ships rushed forward, scooping the fragments before the void creatures could feed on them. "This is not just a battle," said a scientist in awe, "this is strategy at a level we cannot match." But the battle grew worse. The Titans came faster now, dozens becoming hundreds, their bodies twisting like living storms, their mouths spreading open in impossible shapes, releasing death in every direction. Several human ships spun out of formation, their shields flickering, but instead of retreating, backup vessels moved in, forming protective clusters around them. Another Titan broke through, charging toward the Council's nearest colony world. The alarm blared, warning, Titan moving past the defense line. The elder felt her light crackle with fear. "Stop it," she whispered, "please stop it." Walker's eyes sharpened. He turned to an officer, "Activate the Crown's primary weapon." The officer hesitated. "Sir, the Helios lance was not meant for this early." "It does not matter," Walker said, "fire." The crew obeyed. The HSS Obsidian Crown's entire hull glowed blue, then white, then gold. A massive beam erupted from the ship's core, stretching across space like a spear of sunlight, ripping through the Titan in one strike. The monster exploded into fading mist. The entire council chamber erupted in gasps of awe and terror. That was one ship," whispered the Chancellor, "just one." The elder glowed brighter, a mixture of fear and admiration. "We are seeing the real humanity now," she said, "not the silent planet we judged." She watched as the human fleet reorganized again, preparing for the next attack. "They are not fighting for conquest," she whispered, "they are fighting because someone had to." Behind them, the void began to ripple again. Something larger, something older, something unimaginably powerful started to emerge. Admiral Walker stared at the new signal, his expression finally shifting, a hint of concern appearing in his eyes. "The Titan Prime," he whispered, "of course it would come." The galaxy braced for a nightmare it had never imagined. Humanity braced to face it alone. The Titan Prime emerged from the void like a nightmare rising from the deepest, darkest ocean. It was so massive that its shadow covered entire star clusters. Its body was shaped like a twisted mountain made of darkness, cracks of white fire glowing under its skin. Every movement it made sent waves of distortion rippling across space, bending gravity like soft metal. When the council saw it on the hologram, fear crushed the room like a fist. No one spoke, no one breathed. They simply watched as something older than their civilizations drifted into view. Admiral Kane Walker stood on the bridge of the HSS Obsidian Crown, staring at the Titan Prime without blinking. His crew's faces were calm but pale. The entire human fleet was now aligned behind him, forming a shield wall across the sector. The Titan Prime opened its mouth, a gaping rift filled with white fire, and released a scream that shattered nearby asteroids into dust. Even the hologram inside the council chamber flickered under the shockwave. The Elder whispered, "This creature, it is beyond our understanding." Walker turned to his officers, "Begin Maneuver Sigma 5. Human warships responded instantly, breaking formation and curving around the Titan Prime. Their engines glowed with bright blue flames, leaving streaks of light across the dark void. The Titan Prime released another wave of energy. A blast of raw void force shot outward like a collapsing star. Several human frigates were caught in the wave, their shields breaking instantly. A destroyer was ripped in half, exploding into a shower of blue sparks. The council gasped in horror. But the human fleet did not break. Backup ships moved in, supporting the damaged vessels. Their formations tightened, their cannons charged brighter. Walker raised a hand, "Fire Helix Formation." A storm of spiraling beams shot across space, glowing blue, red, and gold. They twisted like enormous braided threads of energy, crashing into the Titan Prime's armor. The creature roared, its body shaking, cracks appearing along its surface. But instead of falling, it absorbed the beams, pulling the energy into its chest and releasing a shock of dark lightning that slammed into the fleet. Several human cruisers spun out of control, shields flickering, engines dying. Inside the council chamber, panic erupted. "They are losing," someone shouted. "We cannot win against that," cried another. "The humans must retreat." But the elder shook her head slowly. "They will not retreat," she whispered, "not while we still live." Admiral Walker stood firm, his gaze fixed on the Titan Prime. "They are draining our energy," he said calmly, as expected. His second officer stepped closer. "Sir, if this continues, the fleet will collapse." Walker nodded. "Then it is time for the crown." He issued the order no one wanted to hear: "Prepare Project Helios." The entire bridge fell silent. Project Helios was the most dangerous weapon humanity had ever created, a weapon that drew power from the ship's core and focused it into a single catastrophic beam, a weapon strong enough to tear apart a small moon, but dangerous enough to consume the ship using it. Walker stepped forward, placing his hand on the central console. "Charge Helios." The lights inside the obsidian crown dimmed as power rerouted into the core. The entire ship began to glow gold, deeper, hotter, brighter. The Titan Prime sensed the rising energy and turned its attention toward the flagship. Its massive body twisted, and black tendrils shot forward, slicing through space toward the crown with terrifying speed. "Evasive pattern Delta," Walker commanded. The crown rolled to the side, weaving through the dark tendrils like a swimmer escaping a whirlpool, but one tendril struck the hull, sending a violent shockwave through the ship. The deck trembled, sparks flew, several officers stumbled. "Damage to port side," the AI announced, "shield integrity at 70%. Walker tightened his jaw. "Continue charging." The Titan Prime shrieked again, releasing another wave of destructive energy. This time, dozens of Titans joined the attack, firing beams of darkness toward the human fleet. Many ships struggled, many faltered, but none retreated. They tightened formations, interlocked shields, protected the flagship with the strength of their unity. The council watched in stunned silence. "They fight like one mind," the Chancellor whispered, "one heart." "They fight like a species that has faced the dark before," the Elder replied. Inside the crown, the core reached full power, the ship blazed like a newborn star. Walker raised his hand, Helios ready. Fire. A beam of pure golden light burst from the ship, shooting across millions of kilometers in a straight line, tearing the void apart as it moved. The beam struck the Titan Prime with a force that shattered reality around it. The creature screamed, its body cracking open like a breaking planet. The golden light dug deeper, burning through layers of shadow, peeling away cosmic armor. The Titan Prime writhed in agony, releasing shockwaves that shook every ship in the fleet. Inside the council chamber, the floor vibrated, the lights flickered, and the hologram distorted under the violent bursts of energy. Walker pushed the weapon harder, full power. The beam intensified, splitting the Titan Prime down the center, white fire spilling from its wounds, its body twisted, curling inward, beginning to collapse. And then, with one final roar that echoed across the stars, the Titan Prime exploded into a storm of dark particles. The entire fleet trembled under the force, but the human ships held formation. Silence followed. Heavy, painful, unbelievable silence. The elder whispered the words everyone felt. Humanity has saved us. But Walker wasn't celebrating, his eyes narrowed as he stared at the fading dust of the Titan Prime. Do not relax, he said, Titans never travel alone. And at that moment, the void began to ripple again. Something else was coming. Something bigger than the Prime. Something even the humans feared. The final battle had not begun. It had only been awakened. The void was still shaking from the Titan Prime's destruction, but the galaxy was not safe yet. Far from it, the space around Sector 9 rippled like boiling water, white cracks appearing across the darkness. The council watched in horror, expecting another monster to burst forward, something even bigger, stronger, older than the Prime. But instead of a creature, a strange pulse drifted out of the void, a soft wave, slow and gentle, almost like a sigh. It was not hostile, it was not hungry. The wave spread across the human fleet and the council's sensors without causing harm. What is that? The Chancellor whispered, confused and trembling. Admiral Walker stared at the readings, eyebrows slightly lowered. A death echo, he said quietly, the last breath of the Titan Prime. The elder stepped closer to the projection. Does that mean, it is truly gone? Walker nodded once, yes, but the danger is not over. The council panicked again, voices rising like a storm, but Walker raised his hand, and the room fell silent. The remaining Titans will retreat, he said, we know their patterns. Without the Prime, they scatter, they lose sense of purpose. So we are safe, a nervous ambassador asked hopefully. Walker shook his head slowly, safe for now. The elder's light dimmed. Then what happens next? Walker turned around on the bridge, facing the galaxy he had sworn to protect. His voice softened. Now, humanity must speak. The council chamber dimmed as a new hologram formed. This time it showed not just the human fleet, but the entire Milky Way. Thousands of small red marks faded slowly as the Titans retreated deeper into the void. The fear inside the chamber faded too, replaced by disbelief and awe. A warrior race knelt, humans saved our worlds. A peaceful race bowed their heads, humans saved our children. A scientific race whispered, we never even understood the darkness. All of them looked at Walker again. Why? Asked a leader with trembling hands, why fight for us, why protect us, why carry this burden alone? Walker paused before answering, his gaze distant, remembering something painful. 30 years ago, he began, we detected the first Titan movements near a small human colony outside mapped space. The council listened with full attention. They moved fast, Walker continued, we lost millions before we understood what we were facing. The hall trembled with emotion, even from species who rarely felt any. We did not tell you because we were ashamed, Walker admitted, ashamed that we could not protect our own people, that we were unprepared. He lifted his head, eyes sharper now, filled with steel. So we built this fleet, he said, ship by ship, year by year, in silence, in the dark. The elder lowered herself closer, glowing warmly, you built it to protect yourselves. No, Walker replied, we built it because once we understood what Titans were capable of, we knew they would not stop with us. He pointed at the map of the galaxy, at the thousands of worlds spread across the stars. We knew the Titans would come for all of you, he said, every race, every world, every child. Silence filled the chamber again, but this time it was not fear, it was respect, deep and heavy. The Council Chancellor stood, shaking slightly, humanity, you saved the galaxy. Walker shook his head, no, we bought time. He turned back to the war map, now showing the retreat of the Titan swarm. They will return, he said, not today, not tomorrow, but one day. A chill passed through the chamber, but Walker continued, his voice strong. That is why humanity can no longer fight alone. The elder spoke gently, so what do you propose? Walker straightened, standing tall, a united defense. The council members exchanged confused looks. A defense pact, Walker explained, humans will share our technology, our training, our experience, and our weapon designs. Murmurs filled the room, but they were not whispers of fear anymore, they were whispers of hope. In return, Walker said, every race must join the Helios Alliance. The Helios Alliance, the Chancellor repeated, testing the words. Yes, Walker replied, a new coalition, built not on politics or territory, but survival. The elder glowed brighter, a union against the darkness. Walker nodded, exactly. But why share your power, an ambassador asked, you could rule the galaxy with your fleet. Walker's expression softened as he gave the answer that shocked the entire chamber. Humanity does not want to rule, he said, we want to live. The words sank deep into every mind, dissolving years of prejudice and misunderstanding. A warrior leader stepped forward, slamming his fist against his chest, my people will join the Helios Alliance. A peaceful species bowed low, and ours. One by one, voices echoed across the chamber, pledging loyalty, trust, cooperation. Finally, the elder floated closer to the hologram, her glow warm and full of gratitude. Admiral Kane Walker, she said softly, for centuries we thought Earth was silent out of pride or arrogance. She paused, her light brightening. But now we understand, humanity was silent because they were preparing to save us. Walker gave a small nod, not of pride, but acceptance. The elder raised her staff, and her words echoed through the galaxy. Let this moment be recorded forever, she declared, the day humanity spoke, and the galaxy listened. The hologram faded, but the alliance it formed continued to shine across the stars. Humanity did not come to conquer, they came to warn, to protect, and to unite. The void would one day return. But this time, the galaxy would not face it alone. And as the human fleet drifted forward like a wall of unbreakable steel, one message spread across every world. Humanity's silence was never weakness. It was preparation. The stars trembled. And a new era began.